Hello, my name's James Koons with Data Privacy and Security Advisors. I have a background in both information security and data privacy, data protection. And as we know, data protection is now an ever more prominent item that's being discussed. We see legislation being adopted. Most notably, in the last few years, we had the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. And now beyond that, we see specific pieces of legislation in the United States, kind of a patchwork right now with different states adopting their own legislation. And then now on to the Caribbean, in Jamaica specifically, where we see the Data Protection Act of 2020 now coming into enforcement, requiring many different things for organizations to do, including register with the Office of the Information Commissioner and have certain specific documentation, as well as being able to pass on certain rights to individuals. My organization is well versed in all of the global privacy regulations, to include the Data Protection Act in Jamaica, and we're here to help. Compliance readiness for the Data Protection Act, or you'll hear me refer to it as the JDPA, is really looking at where your organization is in terms of data protection and data privacy measures, right? So overall, we're looking at, do you have a privacy statement? Do you have certain documentation? Are your employees trained? Would you be able to provide an individual with their data or be able to update that data? Specifically, when we look at a readiness program, we want to measure how ready is the organization to demonstrate compliance with that act. And specifically for any act, whether that's the or any legislation, whether that's the GDPR or the JDPA, we take that act specifically, we look at the requirements, and we build our assessment around those specific requirements. Those assessments could change from organization to organization. If in fact that company is doing business in multiple jurisdictions, then the assessment would include things like elements from the GDPR if they're doing business in Europe, or LGDP if they're doing business in Brazil, or if in the US, we're going to look at things like the CCPA, CPRA, Nevada, Utah, all those places that have their own legislation. So really at its core, the readiness program is looking at a point in time picture of an organization's overall compliance, and lets them know how they stack up against the requirements of the specific legislation they need to demonstrate compliance with. And then the outcome of that would be a remediation plan that comes with that. The compliance program that we have developed, it's proprietary to us. It's backed by what we refer to as privacy technology. So it's a technology platform that's built around compliance laws and regulations, and it's assessment driven. So how we go about it is we develop a custom assessment template based on the organization, that organization's line of business, whether they're in manufacturing or medical, and as well as obviously the privacy regulations that they need to demonstrate compliance with. And we put it into a system with which this privacy technology uses logic. It uses workflows, it uses rules. We're able to add specific components of legislation into it, so that when the organization answers the questions in this assessment, they're weighed initially in terms of how that particular answer does or does not demonstrate compliance. And then we look at that here internally in our organization, and we develop a plan. So what that plan looks like is we're going to take all elements that this organization needs to do, whether that's a privacy statement, whether that's providing individual rights, whether that's having a DPO or needing privacy impact assessments, or even registering with the Office of the Information Commissioner as a data controller. We provide a comprehensive report. Most of these are no less than 60 pages long, and it gives you a remediation plan. It is itemized, it is prioritized. So we take the highest risk items first, and prioritize it from there. So you have high priority, medium priority, low priority items all in an itemized list. And in addition to that, we provide you with an estimated level of effort required to implement that measure or control. So you get a very comprehensive report broken down into sections that are easily digestible. Obviously, the report contains snippets from the Act. It contains an entire breakdown and synopsis of the Act, but the really important and I think key deliverable within that report are the the remediation plan that's included with that.